Hey y'all, hey. So it's 7:30 on a Wednesday night and you're here with Sugar, Natalie Sugar Brown. And this is the Natalie Sugar Brown show. Okay. And for those who are new, I'm going to introduce myself. I am Natalie Sugar Brown. I'm a woman pugilist, boxer, woman boxer. I've grown up in this industry. I have been a part of a lot of firsts, okay? And so I speak the language and I know how things go enough, so much so that I now have a platform to share all the in between the lines type of conversations that you would want to have about women's boxing. For those who are true, thanks for meeting Suge every Wednesday at 7:30 and chatting me up because you guys, I'm talking to all of y'all now. It's a conversation. Yes. The conversation is about this is where you come to talk women's boxing. And it's not women's boxing numbers and percentages and statistics. No, right? We're talking about the lifestyle. We're talking about women behaving badly. We're talking about what all of that translates into the growth of the industry of women's boxing, right? What kind of bad makes us money, right? So I'm really not sure how long tonight's show will be. But tonight we want to talk about an upcoming match between two contenders out here in women's boxing. And one of those contenders may be a bit interesting, more interesting than the other, right? So it's Green She-Hulk, okay? Um, just starting off, just going to open up with thanking all my guys here at Talking Fight for making sure they make time for Suge on Wednesday nights because sometimes we go way down into the evening. Chime in, ask questions, ask any question. This is not, no one's quizzing you. Your opinion is respected. We may not see eye to eye and agree on a lot of things, right? And yeah, I'm gonna call you on your bullshit. And you know what? I've been called on mine too, right? But we're having a conversation about it and like to hear it go. So, my lovely assistant, can you please start off? Okay, so this weekend, this fighter here, to my, if you're looking at the screen, it would be my left. Am I right? You guys, I'm sorry. Like, I really, over here, over this way, to my right. Okay. Um, Olivia Curry is a contender who will be fighting this in the super middleweight division. She will be fighting Shadeja Green. Okay, so did a little homework on this biddy here. Okay, and so I was saying this, out of anybody, out of everyone that could have gotten such a wonderful opportunity on this Jake Paul card that's coming up, because Jake Paul and now he's become a known promoter, right? And he's good at promoting fights now, and he's featuring women on his cards. So this sub 10 fighter, Olivia Curry, gets a break. Huh? The matchmaker did their job, I guess. Um, and Olivia Curry, 7 wins, 2 KOs, 1 loss and she lost early in her career by a fighter named Karina Ortiz, who was 1-0 when she fought her. So she lost to a pro debuter. Okay. Man, where my picture go? Y'all don't play that. Don't play like that. So Olivia Curry, whose picture you see up there, has she has some she has a bit of a background. She was an amateur fighter as well as a Muay Thai fighter. Okay, and she has been on platforms doing both in in arenas where people came to watch her on an amateur and a pro level. Okay, I'm not going to downplay Shouty, okay? Because everyone's got a fighting chance. She stepped up to the boogeyman, Shadeja Green. Yes, right? Because Shadeja Green is now supposed to be the one. This the one now, right? This the one that's going to be the problem um, for all of those who are on top. But let's talk about what like why it's where's the excitement, okay? But first, let's give Olivia Curry a little bit of shine. This will probably be one of, if not the biggest, one of the biggest fights of her entire career. Okay, lovely assistant. Let's go on to the next one. Image, please. Okay, so there she goes. She got the USA Boxing amateur uniform on her. Okay, so this is what fighters who sign up for these prestigious tournaments this is this is the outfit. So you know that she's participated in tournaments. She's been a part of she's been a part of the culture, okay, so to speak, of climbing and getting that experience and coming through the filter of amateur boxing. Okay, so she was doing it, she did it. She was a USA boxing fighter, right? I always bring up this point, right? That a fighter can come from any background, okay? What they're trying to sell now is, oh, all fighters, all good fighters, especially in women's boxing, have good amateur pedigree, right? Which I think cheapens our terrain because, yeah, amateur, the amateurs is one avenue, okay? Sanctioned USA boxing, whatever, IABA, if that's even who they are now. I've been out of it for so long. The amateur scene, that's one way. That's like getting your education, going to college, getting your master's and doctorate degree. Okay. And then you have other avenues where people have experiences and they learn from their experiences, meaning the underground. Okay. And fighting, especially when you decide to become a professional, what the background does not determine your value. Your performance determines your value. Okay, so I always encourage, even when I see these broads in the bars, in the parks, in the backyards, I always encourage them to keep going, right? Smarten up, keep going, because one day, right, you'll make it to where you want to go. Just like these sanctioned amateurs that take the um, sanctioned way. But I digress. So this fighter right here, that's her as an amateur, Olivia Curry. Next image, lovely assistant, please. Okay, so there she goes, and I mean, that was a amateur picture, a picture of her as an amateur, and now clearly you see that this is her as a pro. Okay, she and you could tell by that her her hands are gauzed and taped up, right? We ain't using hand wraps no more, right? We really getting ourselves we really getting ourselves loaded up, right? So them knuckles can go come through the gloves. Um, so this fighter here, she fought at middleweight. Okay, middleweight is like in the, just call it the 150s. Okay, and she's had most of her experiences in that division. Big tall girl, 5'10", and I've seen this type before. As you grow and develop in the fight world, you can kind of categorize the body types and what to expect from them, right? So looking at this one is the typical um, bigger middleweight broad. She's probably bottom heavy. I've looked at her pictures, and so if she's bottom heavy, that means she ain't too crafty with the movement. She's going to be right there in front of you, and she's going to be moving forward, right? And so you got to use your head, and you got to use your strategy to have a game plan against a fighter like this, right? Because that doesn't mean that they can't do damage, they can't hurt you, they can't win. That doesn't mean that. Okay? Anyway, you see she got the blood on her face and she's smiling, right? She one of them that like that, right? So um you could tell that she wants to get in there. She don't mind leaking. She gonna make you leak, and then y'all gonna just be playing in it. Okay? Um which it gives me a bit of background on her style, what kind of personality she has when she behaves badly. Okay, so this broad, she goes in there, and for the sake of fighting, that's what she'll do. She'll fight just for the sake of fighting, right? She want to win, but she like to be in there, whether she getting her ass whipped or not, fighting. And the type. That's a type that is, that's a type that, as you grow as a fighter, male or female, right? Because you got males like that too. Those are the ones who help you figure stuff out in there because they're game, right? You could hit them, they take and they give. And there's sometimes, I used to hate this, but um, a couple get hit with, like a couple of them get hit with that shot, pew, and they come back. Then they go, y'all who fight, y'all know what I'm talking about, right? They come back and they smile and nod their head. I'm like, bitch, what you smiling at? What you nodding your head for? Oh, you like that? Okay, here's like 3 or 4 more knuckle sandwiches. How you like that? You fool? You know. But anyway, um, look at this broad's statistics, okay? Um, she is ranked number 3 in the world. I mean, I'm looking at Box Rec. This shit is crazy. She's ranked number 3 in the world with 8 fights on Box Rec out of 34 middleweights in the world, Craig, in the world. So that alone, this is why we're doing this show, because all of a sudden women boxing just done got cool, right? I'm surfing the cyberverse, and you got all these talk shows and all these people, they have guests, and everyone's talking about women's boxing. And everybody can make a show out of it. And I'm like, since when? Right? And what are y'all talking about? Right? You having these, like, everybody can get these broads as guests on their show. That's why Sugar don't have guests. um, because the show is for you guys, the fans of women's boxing. That's really what the show is for. The show is for these conversations where I have a platform to you could come and you can talk that talk. I'm fine with it. Long as you don't get disrespectful, right? And that's what I don't, I mean, I know that, that's what is not out there with these other platforms, because unless you know this shit, unless you know what you're talking about, when somebody comes with what they think and what they believe about certain things, if you don't know what you're talking, if you don't know the game, right, then uh, they can hurt your feelings. They can embarrass you. It can turn negative, right? But as a woman pugilist, I've my experiences, and before women's boxing even became something where a 7-1 fighter like her can go on a platform and jump heads now of all great contenders. Like she's doing what they used to do, like I guess back in the early '90s when it didn't matter. Like there's a woman, a crone like me, you know, one of us needs to step up and say and talk about it and talk about the bullshit, right? Um, so she's ranked number 3 in the world all of a sudden, Olivia Curry. Okay. She's ranked number 2 in the United States. Let me tell y'all, backyard boxing, these unsanctioned, where y'all at? Where y'all at? Come make this money. Come make this money. This broad right here is ranked number 2 in the United States. And she's only had 8 fights. Y'all better come on in, y'all. Make this money. She's about to make a couple $1,000s, right? Even though low key, a lot of these club fighting broads and backyard boxers and stuff, they've been making that bread over us. But now you can make more. You can make more out of it. Come on, y'all. Um, so she's 33 years old. She's a broad, fairly, moderately aged broad. She's 33, so she'll be peaking in about 2 to 3 years. Okay, so she got some. This is her time. This is her time. Um, Goodness, I didn't look. So I looked. I'm looking at her box rec, and you got to even look. Box rec. I like what box rec is doing. You can have followers on box rec now, which is awesome. And they're actually showing the manager agent, which they used to, but it used to be kind of shady. And she's managed by a gentleman named Trinidad Garcia and Rick Ramos. Now, Rick Ramos um, rings a bell because his fighter as well is Jessica McCaskill. Okay, so they have the same manager agent in this deal. So I suppose that's how she made it onto this huge card. I'm sure she wasn't no phenom that now she's a contender that where she can face Shadeja Green, who is also, this phenom who hasn't really fought high end opposition. And that's what we're talking about tonight. That's what I'm talking about tonight. Okay. So Olivia Garula is the only notable fight on Miss Curry's Skid Row. Okay. Olivia Kerr, she's aside from that, she's fought, she she's fought stepping, like, not even stepping stone fighters, but she's fought and not even 4 and 40 fighters, meaning 4 and 40 fighter means, a fighter that has, you know, uh, 20 wins, 30 losses. There's a lot of women out here like that, because women fighters out here like that, because most women fighters don't want to fight somebody who's actually a fighter. They want to fight career opponents. Okay. The beautiful thing about now is the the valuable matches are starting to get notoriety and benefits, right? If you're not, like the most recent one that I spoke about, Alicia Baumgartner versus Christina Leonardo. Okay. Christina Leonardo has always been, she fought Katie Taylor, she fought all of these great fighters, but she wasn't celebrity status for some reason. No, she's a bit of a celebrity because, she was on a platform where people could actually see her. And even though she lost the fight, she still has some kind of recognition because she put on a good fight. She wasn't a tomato can in there. Okay. Strategy could have been way better, but she wasn't no tomato can, right? It was a real fight. Lovely assistant, next image, please. Okay, so now we're looking at Shadeja Green. Okay, this the one, right? This the one everybody's talking about. This is She-Hulk, Miss Green She-Hulk. Okay, because all of a sudden, uh, she the one that's going to beat. She the one that's going to beat Savannah Marshall. She the one that's going to beat Clarissa Shields. Oh, not to mention, she would not. Franchon Cruz is not even any competition. You know what I'm saying? I did a bit of a. I touched on her a little bit earlier when in her rise, when was she sub 10? She was either sub 10 or close to 10. Okay. Um, and not that I'm dissing homegirl. Okay. I'm not putting, this is not, boxing as a sport where I can't sugarcoat your shit. You know what I'm saying? I can't, I'm not going to put powdered sugar on your bullshit and try to serve it as dessert. I'm not going to do that. Okay, I got to call you on your shit. Okay, now Shadeja Green is ranked number 3 in the world as a super middleweight. Okay, Miss Curry, who we were just talking about, Olivia Curry, was ranked number three. Goodness, now I got to look at this because they both. This is Box Rec too, y'all. Olivia Curry is ranked number 3 as a middleweight in the world, right? But there are a lot of middleweight, according to Box Rec. There are a lot of middleweights, though. So I don't understand how Olivia Curry got to be up there number 3. So somebody done made a call, right? I'm calling this bullshit. 7-1. And you rank number 3 in the world. And we don't even know who you are. I can't find no footage on you. You don't have no receipt. You don't have a receipt. But yet you got a ticket to the dance. You got the ticket. You're the main event at the dance. And you ain't got no receipt. This is the bullshit I'm talking about. right? So as a middleweight, she's ranked number 3 in the world. Um, there's a South African fighter that's ranked above her, okay? And at number 4, we got Olivia Garula, okay? And let me tell you something about Olivia Garula. Olivia Garula has fought as low as, I think, 120 pounds. Yeah. And then she's gone, like, she's fighting as high now as middleweight, right? Junior middleweight, middleweight, junior middleweight, right? Olivia Garula. I think I may highlight that one because I've always liked her tenacity. And she's one she's been in this, she's grown up in this, right? And she's she's contributed to the growth of a lot of women fighters in women's boxing. So yeah. Olivia Garula. Don't sleep on her. Marcella Cornejo is number 5. Desley Robinson out of UK. Okay. And then we have, we go down some South Africans, and, this is, I would call this a zombie weight class. Okay. It's a zombie weight class because none of the contenders in the weight class have any type of, none of the contenders in this weight class have any kind of standing or pull as far as the value of their performance. Right? Ain't no killers in this weight class. They all dead, right? The walking dead. Right? So this is the type of weight division that Olivia Curry's in, that, yeah, she can be, I guess she can be ranked 3 in the world because everybody dead. Now, the champion of the middleweight, of this middleweight division is Clarissa Shields, right? So Clarissa Shields might have made a smart move by going down to this weight so she can hang out a little bit, right? Ain't no contenders coming for her in this division. So nobody's going to be no mandatory for her. She could take a vacation down here, right? Because ain't nobody coming for her, right? But if she was in the junior middleweight, if she was in not junior middleweight, the middleweight division, the super middleweight division, not junior middle, she would have a lot of people knocking on her door, right? Even from rematches, like she'd have to be sharp, right? So now she's chilling in this zombie weight division. If she gets an opportunity, she makes money regardless because she doesn't have to, she really doesn't have to extend herself. So Shadeja Green is now 12-0 with 11 KOs. Okay. So let's see who went the distance with Shadeja. Because those are the things that you look at when you're stalking prospects. Okay, so everybody done got TKO'd, but a fighter named Iraz Hernandez took her the whole 6 rounds. So Shadeja can be managed, right? Because one person did it. One person lost, but they didn't get TKO'd by her. And each TKO it's not KO, right? TKO is when the ref stops it, right? And the ref can stop it for any reason. A lot of TKOs are arguably fights that should have had the opportunity to continue to the end. a lot of TKOs, right? But I think refs just get bored in there and they be like, you know what? Let me end this shit. And they stop the fight, you know? Um, it is what it is. Some of them get paid, right? Because those TKOs now they're KOs on her list, and it brings her value up, right? So the promoter may do a deal like that with the ref and the matchmaker. That's how these things go. Okay. Um, so Shadeja Green's Skid Row also looks as scanty as uh, Olivia Curry's, contender wise. Yeah, I said it. She ain't fought nobody, right? Now they say, it's floating around that Shadeja Green came down from 190 pounds, right? But we're women out here, so 190 pounds. It wasn't like she walking around D's, like the pit bull off of Tom and Jerry. She was a fat lady, and she lost some weight, and she got her ass into some shape, and now she's campaigning down at super middleweight. Okay, so um that, to me, that's them selling that, or people being concerned about that, is also why we need to have these conversations about women's boxing, because men's boxing ain't the same. If you're looking at her as you would a contender in men's boxing, you got it all wrong. Okay. Um, she's losing weight to be, to be more dangerous. Okay. So she's moved down from 190. But what kind of 190 was she? You know what I'm saying? How many 190 women? Well, when you had women like Vonda Ward, who was like, I think she was like 6'6" or something like that. And she could walk around at 190, right? And be muscle, right? Shadeja, I think Shadeja's maybe about 5'10". Um, are they putting heights? Well, on BoxRec they say that she's 5'8", but everybody knows that we lie, especially women's. We lie on BoxRec, right? Never ask a woman how much she weighs, and never ask a woman what's in her purse. Anyway, um, so her KO percentage on BoxRec is 91.67%. Okay. Um, they call her the sweet Terminator, but I would have gone with She-Hulk. For everybody knows the Incredible Hulk's green, and then She-Hulk green, it goes right. Sweet Terminator, I'll be back. I mean, I don't, but you grow into your nickname, you grow into your stage name. Okay. So, yeah, I don't know if y'all may agree with it or not. Where my stage name was Too Bad, Miss Too Bad, Sugar, right? You let me know if my fans and my people in boxing, women's boxing, got it right with this one. Okay, but with Sweet Terminator, I'm looking at her Skid Row, and she, I mean, followers on BoxRec, she ranked number 3 in the world as a super middleweight. Okay, so let's see what BoxRec has. Let's see where her spot is. Okay, so Savannah Marshall has all the belts, right? So Savannah Marshall is the queen of that division. Then still, Franchon Cruz is ranked number 2 on BoxRec, even though she lost all her belts to Savannah Marshall. And then under Franchon Cruz is Shadeja Green. We got Ellen Cederos, who got beat up by pretty much all of those, Savannah, Franchon, and Shadeja. Um, Sonya Drilling, okay, which, I had to, guess who I saw in a bare knuckle match the other day? None only than Sonya Drilling. You know, I had to give her some props. Not a lot of baddies step outside of their discipline anymore. So seeing her in a bare knuckle match made me a more of a fan of her. So I appreciated that, and she looked pretty good in there. She got robbed. I think she got robbed. It was over there in the UK. She fought a broad that kind of reminds me of a, a welterweight fighter named Callie Ray's. Yeah, she fought a girl, a broad like that in there. They even kind of resemble each other. Look it up. It's out here in the cyberverse. But Sonya Drilling's bare knuckle match was very entertaining. Then you got an Italian at rank number 6, Citali Ortiz. Oh no, she's not Italian. She's Mexican. I'm sorry, y'all. Then we have South African girls are doing it. You see them in all the rankings. I appreciate that. African women, they doing it they fighting over there. Then we got Colombian, and then we have another UK broad, and then an American broad at number 10, right? So I'm not saying the names or anything like that, because when I look at the rankings, or when I used to look at who's representing where, I could get a pretty decent idea of the um of the quality of opposition from each place, right? Because I understood that certain type of training didn't exist or doesn't exist in certain communities of women's boxing, right? There's some communities where you just find a strong girl, and she can do slow ass 1-2 will get her, she'll plow through all the contenders in her neck of the woods, right? Because no one's being taught. And then you got a place like, say, USA or the UK now, or South America, okay, where, especially South America, Mexico, right? They're not playing, right? So if you're going to fight a Mexican, as opposed to you're fighting someone, say, from South Africa, right? That Mexican broad can fight. She understands it. She got tactics and strategies, because that's what they do over there. South Africa, this broad's going to be strong. She's probably going to be heavy-handed, and she's going to be in shape. That's just what right? And so that's how you determine what the opposition's looking like. That's how we break down these rankings and all of that stuff. But back to Shadeja Green. Okay, so Shadeja is ranked number 3. I wouldn't call it a zombie weight class, but it's a low key. It's almost there. It's turning into some zombie shit. I don't see enough. You gotta at least have 5 baddies, right? 4 or 5 baddies, semi baddies, some gatekeepers in a division for you to raise an eyebrow to any broad in the top 10. Yes, I said it. This is how you got to look at it, right? You're not looking at no big scary bitch or little scary broad. And say, ooh, she's scary. No. You look at what kind, who is in the division? What does her receipt look like? Does she at least have 3 baddies on her receipt, right? Or is she on at least 3 baddies receipts? You know what I'm saying? That's when you know. That's when you know, right? That's the formula. Shadeja Green, I'm trying. Like I mean, her receipt. She fought Ellen Cederos, and okay, she's a baddie because she was a champion, but she was a baddie in the division when it was a zombie division. You know what I'm saying? So she was the queen of the zombies at one time, right? So now pot's starting to bubble. They going to snatch him up off of her, right? And now Franchon, yeah, Franchon snatched them, bitch. Give me them belts. I want all of them, right? And then I just don't get it. It never made sense to me. I just don't understand why Franchon Cruz could have chilled, could have made money while she had all them belts before she had to pay that money back. Why did she call out Savannah Marshall? Why? That was, it just didn't make sense business wise, right? I mean, you a singer, you a diva, you all of this stuff, but you did this, you signed up to do this to be a champion, and you have been a champion. But when you have all the belts, you want to relish in it as long as you can and build a legacy. She only had one, she only had one fight as she only had one title defense, successful title defense, I think, as an undisputed champion. And then after that, she lost all her belts. That didn't make any sense. Hell of a fighter, but she didn't, where she should have been a superstar at, she didn't focus on that area, if you guys know what I mean, right? That's where she should have been a star. She probably should have picked on some of the smaller gatekeepers in, middleweight, in the middleweight division, and help them make some money in her division, right? Femke, fight some of them broads and make a show out of it, right? And then if she needs to step up, and possibly lose, right? But you don't call, you don't friggin' wake up Frankenstein, right? Frankenstein don't come out of don't come from the top of the hill. Don't go up there messing with Frankenstein, don't do that. Stay where your ass at, right? That's where I was. But she has turned into a spokesperson, has some great opportunities outside of women's boxing. So, she's still around. Back to this broad here. Okay. So, lovely assistant. Next picture, please. Please, please, please. All right. So this Shadeja in action, right? This one of the, you know what I'm saying? This one of the moves right here. That's going to help her, fend off the attack of the one. She's going. Now, those of us who know boxing, who know how to fight, I put this picture up here for a reason, because y'all see it. I'm not going to say nothing, but y'all see it. Now, if she think she could take a position like that in front of a mofo like Savannah Marshall, she's in for a short night. because everybody has agreed, Franchon, Clarissa, everybody who done fought Savannah Marshall has agreed that the bitch got loaded, that she got loaded hands. She got the bomb. Okay. Now she don't know how to knock people out. No one has taught her. Savannah Marshall can knock people out if she's taught, but she's not being taught. But yeah, this here is her in action, and this proves, I mean, this is one of my points to where she's not she has not experienced opposition of the caliber that would get her ready to perform against the likes of Savannah Marshall, Clarissa Shields, Franchon Cruz. You know what I'm saying? You gotta work under the lights. You gotta work under, we gotta see how you do under the lights. Sparring is one thing, right? Sparring is one thing. Having opposition that you supposed to beat in front of you is one thing too. But fighting another bad bitch under the lights, that's a whole experience. You talking about being fucked? That's a whole experience, right? That's why we hug at the end, right? Because that's some real freaky shit, right? You in the ring, you fighting a bitch, and she's just as bad as you, and she taking and giving just like you, and you got to dig deep and extend yourself to win. And some of the time, most of the time, when you dig deep and extend yourself, you still don't win according to the judges. So you walk out of there still with your head up because you know you behaved badly and you performed, right? That's how women fighters think, right? That's how our money is made, not like the men's. Now, lovely assistant, next picture. We won't go out here. I ain't got no guests tonight, y'all. No guests, so. All right, so this the matchup right here, and I picked a picture with what's this dude's name? I know I should know his name, and it slips my mind right now. Jake Paul, right? His little goofy ass, right? So, he's cute sometimes, but he's giving women's boxing a platform. He's giving Amanda a platform, and all of a sudden, it seems like Amanda's opening the gates for other women under the Jake Paul or on the Jake Paul platform. So Shadeja has been brought onto the Jake Paul platform. He's her promoter. And he's the one that's calling and also encouraging this Savannah Marshall versus Shadeja Green fight. I think it's too early. It's too early for this. One of my favorite quotes nowadays is a quote that a fellow female fighter has said in our conversation here on in cyberspace I think on the Sugar Show. Because yeah, she was one. Brooke Deidre said, "Her shit ain't ready yet. Her shit ain't ready yet." Why you calling all of these? That yeah, Savannah Marshall, she a monster out here, right? Just because Clarissa beat her, Clarissa is the elite fighter. Just because Clarissa beat her, don't mean she's not a monster. And it doesn't mean that anyone solved the problem of the Savannah Marshall monster, right? Clarissa did solve some of the problems, but Savannah also has so much room to grow that she can still be a real problem in women's boxing. Um, she reminds me a little bit, just a little bit. She ain't got the dog in her. She and as this fighter right here, but Anne-Sophie Mathis out of France. She kind of reminds me of Anne-Sophie Mathis because Anne-Sophie Mathis at the time was like, this was when the welterweight division was hot, was frying it up like hot grease. Okay, everybody was in that division and down, including Sugar. Okay, and Anne-Sophie Mathis was about 5'10", probably 5'11", rangy ass welterweight. I'm gonna bring her up on my show one day because she is also one of my favorite fighters in women's boxing. Rangy, but she could fight. Anne-Sophie Mathis could fight. Okay, especially when she was in her prime. And so Savannah Marshall kind of reminds me of her because Anne-Sophie Mathis was hurting women. There was no denial. Everybody, even the greats, Belinda LaCrente, right? Another great in women's boxing, came back and said, nah, Beagle, that bitch hurt. She'll hurt you, right? So I suppose, because we don't compare these new generation female fighters to the older generation female fighters like the men's do, right? That's how they keep their legacy alive. We don't do that in women's boxing. We should, but I believe Savannah Marshall can be a throwback Anne-Sophie Mathis. And she should study Anne-Sophie Mathis if she wants to learn something about her attributes as a fighter, because Anne-Sophie Mathis did well with her style and with what she had, which is what's very similar to what Savannah Marshall has. Anyway, now we're talking about Shadasia Green now. Shadasia Green looks slick. I ain't gonna lie to you. She looks slick. She looks slicker than a Jerry curl in the summertime. Right? Not a dry Jerry curl. If y'all know about this only certain folk know about that Jerry curl, right? I'm talking about when you put the activator, because I know about this, just about all the little girls in my neighborhood and at the school and everything had a Jerry curl. And when you was on downtime, instead of the bonnets now that you see a lot of young girls wear, it was the plastic cap to keep your Jerry curl moisturized, keep it juicy. Right? And so in the summertime, we out there double dutching or whatever we playing, and that activator or whatever would just slide down ever so subtly on everybody, on the girls' faces that had the Jerry curl, okay, and looking greasy as a mother, greasy, talking about like looking like you had that cooking oil sliding down your face, just greasy. But those were the good old days, right? I miss a good Jerry curl. You don't really see those often. You should bring them back. Anyway, Slick Boy, okay, so Shadasia Green, she in there, she doing that stuff like I'm telling y'all that she do, but against the type of opposition she's been fighting, I'm not impressed. Do that shit against Franchon. Do that shit against fighters like who else? Because it's some zombieing going on. Do that shit against Let's do it, Christina Hammer. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about, let's bring Christina Hammer ass out. Let me see you do that shit against, I mean, she gonna have to stop using that cream on her dog, but Hannah Gabriel's. Let me see you slick your way performing with fighters like those before you step up to the monster, right? And now it's a mandatory. Now it's mandatory that they fight. Are you kidding me? Shadeja, girl, this ain't the move. These women out here, these women in women's boxing are allowing people to make quick bread off their ass. Right? You want to make as much bread as you can for a long amount of time. If you want to fight, if you fighting King Kong, if you starting out the gate fighting King Kong, then who you going to fight next? Who you going to fight next? Who's going to want to see you fight anybody after that? Unless you going to stop Savannah Marshall, which I don't see it. Based on your performance with these sub-level opposition, Shadeja, that she's been fighting, I don't see where she's going to do anything like that. I don't see where she's going to be a problem for a Savannah Marshall, right? Because yes, they do. Shadeja Green was an amateur national champion, but in a zombie division. She was a heavyweight. Right? And that heavyweight division ain't been popping since the 90s. Right? It was some good big girls that was around. Keisha Snow, Tiffany Logan. You know what I mean? Like a Shadeja Green versus a Keisha Snow. Keisha will walk through her ass. Keisha Snow. Right? These are the conversations. These are the names. Even Tiffany Logan. You know what I'm saying? These are the names that need to be coming up now in these conversations with these broads. Right? Because if they set the measure, even a Carlette Ewell, right? Carlette still, and she a dragon with the gray hair and shit. And she's still fighting as a heavyweight, or is trying to. She don't play, right? So, these bigger broads. So Shadeja ain't have nothing. She come down to super middleweight. Oh, look. Oh, the Boxing Wizard 63. Just stopped by to say hello, sugar. Stay great. Hey, the Boxing Wizard 63. Thanks for stopping by. I thought I was going to be left on my lonely in this thread. Thank you, boo-boo. And he gave me the thumbs up, too. Thank you for stopping by and saying hey and thinking about your sugar on a Wednesday night. Be good to yourself for the rest of your night. You deserve it. Okay. Yeah, so this is what I'm talking about, the one, the one that's gonna, the one, the one ring to rule them up, please. And I'm not, it's not a diss or anything like that. But what I do know in women's boxing is if you make to look like something without standing in front of something real, everybody will jump on your coattail in women's boxing. All you gotta do is just act like you a tough, scary motherfucker. All you gotta do is act like you're scary, and people believe you in women's boxing, right? But it's not the scary ones like in men's boxing. It be the ones that look like this that you need to be afraid of. Because you got to ask yourself the question, why is she here? She too damn attractive and not a blemish on the bitch face. Why is she here? That's scary, right? And some of us used to get set, some of us, the more, unscary types used to get set up, but for the most part, the ones that stuck in it after the setup became very, very scary, right? So that's, these are the points that I'm making. Lovely assistant, bring the next picture back though. Bring the next picture back, please. Um, we look like we want to wrap it up a little bit early tonight. I ain't gonna go for too much longer. We an hour in. Come on, lovely assistant. Where my other picture at? So that that's what I'm saying. And I just feel like, for the sake of Shadeja Green, right? Because that's, she done struck, popularity. She done struck it. People know her now, right? For the sake of her, she did not get a chance to develop much. She hasn't learned the lesson that Savannah Marshall learned when she fought Clarissa Shields. Shadeja hasn't learned that lesson yet. But Savannah Marshall has learned that lesson. And this is the thing, these are the next picture, lovely assistant. This is the point that I'm making. Franchon Cruz has learned that lesson. You know what I'm saying? A lot of broads now at the height of that division have learned that lesson. So what, lovely assistant, I'm seeing the one same picture. Yeah, what y'all do? Y'all, the next one after that, here we go. This matchup right here, Franchon the Diva Cruz versus Shadeja, what is it, Sweet Terminator? I liked it. I would have called her the Hulk, man. I mean, she scary and stuff, right? I think she's more so of that, than the sweet Terminator. She's so sweet, but she's a Terminator. You know what I'm saying? Girl, marketing. Talk to your marketing people. Anyway, Franchon, I always say, Franchon, she's not the prettiest fighter, but she's hard to fight. Right? So I really believe that Shadeja should have given herself some credit and fought Franchon Cruz before she takes on Savannah Marshall. You know, um, because if you believe that you're the sweet Terminator, and after what Savannah Marshall just did to Franchon, I would have upped my value by making an example of Franchon Cruz. You know what I'm saying? I would have made an example. I would have hit it hard, and I would have attempted to stop Franchon Cruz since Savannah Marshall pretty much beat Franchon from post to post in that ring. You know what I'm saying? Had her stumbling, and right. I would have tried to top Savannah Marshall's ass whooping of Franchon Cruz, right? To build my value. And then it would have built up the money value of me facing off Savannah Marshall, right? Because we have to sell ourselves in women's boxing, or we had to, especially, like, I'm looking at it now. A lot of these broads, they have people helping him, actually caring, right? Us women, us old school, call me old school, we had to think of our own shit. We had to think of our own stuff. Lovely assistant, before you take my picture off, just switch it to the next picture, please. We had to think of our own selling points and find out what the crowd loves about what we do. We had to do that and be consistent in what we do, win or lose. We had to do that, right? So, the credit here, I the conversations alone gives us credit, right? Respect and love on your old school women fighters. Now, this the poster, because y'all know I always look at the poster and see how they selling it. Okay. Now, they selling the male fighters, and the women fighters, and the softest mofo on the poster is the one to the far right, the one right here with the cornrows. He's smooth. Even his face with the with the beard smooth like mine. Everybody else looking like they jacked, right? And I ain't going to, like, I'm not going it. And Women's Boxing Channel, I was in the Twitterverse the other day, and I saw where one of my supporters, one of my wonderful guests that always shows up, WBC Women's Boxing Channel, they ain't come in tonight. Maybe they went to bed. Maybe they was tired, because it's like in the wee hours of the morning over there where WB Women Boxing Channel is at. But I was on the Twitterverse, and Women's Boxing Channel brought up something that I said on my previous show, where I said Alicia Baumgardner is on them drugs. Yes, I did say it. Now, I didn't say she was on no illegal, or she might have been on legal or illegal drugs, but she looks significantly different than she did before she hit the big leagues. Okay? And I know what it looks like, what it looked like when you pop in them extra strong Flintstone vitamins. I know what it looked like, because I seen it. I seen fighters do it. I seen them do it, and I see what it does to them. And so, if by coincidence I see the same things in other fighters, I'm going to speak on it, right? Because it's not fair. It's not fair, right? You're not supposed to be, taking these extra strong Flintstone vitamins, rubbing these creams that gives you an edge. You're supposed to work that. You're supposed to work your body, work it hard, earn it, right? Just like the rest of us do that do it natural, right? So I just found that in this poster is just three hard-faced mother in this picture, and the one that that's looking soft and smooth is homeboy right here. Now, I don't know who this would. I mean, they're selling it. This is the imagery that they're selling. So, they're selling this tough type of hardness that they want to portray, that I guess the stable of women in Jake Paul's group is. They hard, they tough, but hardness in women flow different. The swag's different. A hard woman, her swag is different. A hard woman ain't about the muscle. A hard woman ain't about the wear in her face, right? You could tell she having a hard time. A hard time is different from being a hardcore woman, right? So I always, like, some of them hit that button, right? But for the most part, these promoters, these men promoters, they're taking away the appeal and the longevity in what women boxing is. And I'm an advocate of women boxing. Now, I'm not saying I ain't no fan of a tough looking stud, okay? But what I'm saying is, if you go and market that, there is a part of that stud that's still a woman, right? And what we selling is women behaving badly. That's what we selling, right? I a hard, a pretty woman with a hard ass face. I'm not sure. I mean, there may be some appeal to it, right? But everything else can't be hard, right? Um, because a hard woman don't look hard. It's her swag that's hard, right? Um, and you see a lot. There's a lot of women boxers out here that got that hard swag that I like, right? Some of them have that glamour, with that hard swag with the glam, right? And some of them got that machismo, female hard swag, right? But it works. I used to have a fellow fighter. She wasn't even on my team. She wasn't a stablemate, but we trained together and we were really good friends. Her name is Cynthia Lozano. She was a middleweight fighter back in the early 90s. Much older than me. A lot of those fighters were women, grown women compared to me. I was one of the youngest of that generation. Um, but she had it. She had it. She had that stud vibe, that image that she was the first one. Um Sticks uh is Puerto Rican and Italian. Like, she has the swag of that. I'm not talking about this ain't racial. It's the swag of the culture, right? There's also another fighter named Punchinella, Miriam Punchinella, right? And she became middleweight champion too, but she had a hard swag to her. She used to bring her son to the gym every day. The cute little badass little boy, right? But um, but they had this swag that regardless of what they portrayed, you knew that they were no nonsense women about the shits and with the shits, because they showed up and they made you want to see what they had coming next, right? It's not doing that. It's not giving that for me in a lot of these in a lot of these marketing attempts for women's boxing. So I just want more of that, right? Because when you market women fighters, women boxers, you get more opportunities to make that bread, right? I mean, call me Betty Crocker, but I want to bake. I, I want to make the bread. I don't want to buy the bread from the shelf. Call me. I want to bake patty cake, baker's ma'am. I want to make the bread, right? So I want platforms now. Sell every bit of it, right? Open the platforms and give the opportunities. Pour the opportunities in to make that bread. Okay. Anyway, next image, because I'm wrap it up. Wrap it up. There she is, Shadeja Green. I want to call her She-Hulk, but she's the sweet Terminator. There she is. Um, and I guess she looks scary, right? But somebody like a fighter like me, that shit is like, that shit don't scare. I ain't never been. You know who I've been afraid of? I'm afraid of that elderly lady with them rollers in her hair, and some of them put that cigarette right there on the edge, and they talking to you, and the cigarette's like this. Or like my grandma got the roller setters and the bonnet and the house coat. And your ass better be home before the street lights come on. Because if them street lights come on and your ass ain't in the house, then shit get real scary. So shit like this, no, no, no. Because ain't nobody like this ever do nothing to me and won't never do nothing to me. You know what I'm saying? But this is her marketing point, Shadeja Green. She looks fantastically in shape, very strong, thick and durable. And I mean, I'm going to say this fight coming up between her and Olivia Curry on the 5th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5th of August. I say that there's a bit of interest, and not because it's a even. I don't think it's an even keel matchup. Olivia Curry is moving up from middleweight, right? They could have found another super middleweight for this broad to fight. This is what they doing out here, right? Anyway, calls were made, Ramos and them, somebody rubbing off and doing favors for somebody else. So hey, there you got it, Olivia Curry. You got a big fight. On everybody going to see you, and everybody going to see what happens between you and Shadeja Green. And I just hope, you do well enough for yourself to be proud about it. Okay. This matchup for me is just me getting an assessment of what I see that's consistent in this fighter here, Shadeja Green. What does she consistently do that may pose a problem to the elite fighters in that weight division? Okay, got to see something because after this fight, and she's supposed to be stepping up to Savannah Marshall, but I mean, your ass should have. I mean, there's steps. It's called stepping up. So you could have fought a caliber opponent that wasn't the tip top, right? They have their reasons for what they do. And I think, what they're trying to do is make this road to Clarissa Shields somehow, but Clarissa chilling, as she should, because she works very hard. Anyway, that's the show tonight, you guys. Thank you for chiming in, even if you don't chime in live or if you hadn't dropped anything in my chat box. I really appreciate you stopping by. I really appreciate you riding with Sugar and being here with me on Wednesday nights at 7:30. Sometimes I'm late though, right? I'm sorry. This cyberverse, right? This the internet. But y'all don't know, like in my world out here, they got a sweet tooth. A lot of people want some sugar for some reason. And I got to be there to give them a little bit of sugar every day, right? I don't know. They just like what I do. Take it how you want to take it. But thank you for chiming in. Thank you, the Boxing Wizard 63, for stopping by and saying hello to your sugar. You guys like, subscribe, and share. Someone bought me dinner the other night. I really appreciated that. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, do more things like that. There's nothing like spoiling a woman and making her feel special and good, as you guys do with me. So until next Wednesday, you guys check out all of the other shows on our platform, Talking Fight. Okay, we got some interesting people on here that have some great perspective, right? So while you're waiting on me to come back, check them out. But until then, bye bye.